Welcome to TechWire, a conversation about government, politics, and technology. My name is Christina Gagnier, and today I'm joined by Christie Borchin, Deputy Director of the Office of Professional Development at the California Department of Technology. Christie, thank you so much for joining us again.
Sure, my pleasure.
So a big topic today at the CIO Academy is this leadership transition that's happening in government. As you have one cadre of leaders leaving and retiring, you now have millennial leaders who need those necessary leadership skills to take their place. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, we run several programs. One of them is the IT Leaders Academy. We're in our 22nd year, and really those folks, there's an application process, and the CIO actually has to nominate them. So every year it's a 9-month course, and CIOs, they have to be self-selected, and we're looking for those leaders that can replace the folks like me, you know, the baby boomer generation. So with that, we teach them leadership skills, we talk about budget, we talk about the legislature, and we have a combination of classroom style teaching as well as folks that are in the trenches, some of the leaders that are in the trenches. Additionally, we have a Walk Like a Leader program. So these up-and-coming IT leaders are partnered with either very high-level IT folks like Director Carlos Ramos, Andrea Wallen-Roman, or some of our business folks that are directors and undersecretaries in the department. So it's very effective. The IT leaders, they know IT, but they also need to know how to communicate and work with the business to develop those technological solutions that'll make business more efficient and effective.
So through our series of conversations today, a consistent theme has been that millennials might work a little differently. So perhaps more collaboratively, wanting to be more hands-on. You know, how are you addressing that within like your leadership resources, and just generally, what are your views on that transition?
Well, millennials, they are a little different breed, and what managers and supervisors in state government have to understand is there has to be a lot of job touch points throughout the job. So for example, when someone does hire a millennial, typically there's a time frame between when the job offer is made and when they can start. So what we're recommending is that they keep in touch with the millennial, send them background information, partner them up with a buddy once they get on site, because they do like that hands-on touch point with managers and their peers. They're also, we know that they really value the mission and vision of the department. So typically these folks work for departments where they feel valued. They also, they want to be promoted right away too. So we have to keep the work interesting, stimulating, and we have to keep in touch with them.
Also earlier today, something that came up in discussion was the fact that many people who've been working in state government for a while, have had this long-term training, or there used to be training programs and it was a little more rigorous, or there was more time allotted for sort of catching up to speed with these leadership positions. But today, sometimes people are getting thrown into the fire really quickly and having to adapt. How have you seen that change, and what are ways that you think that those holes can be plugged?
A lot of those holes can be plugged through mentors. I mean, the state does have retired annuitants. The absolute best way to use retired annuitants is to buddy up with a millennial, one of your very new hires who are in their late 20s, early 30s. Those are great resources, because again, a lot of folks are retiring, and again, if folks want to come back, the best way is to partner up the millennial and the retired annuitant with the job. You don't have that retired annuitant doing the same thing they did over and over, but they need to cross-train and train. That, and I know our particular department, training dollars, we've had more this year in the last year than we have in a while. We're also working on a Project Academy series, and we actually train for free state workers. So it doesn't have to necessarily be IT staff, but really in all the project management disciplines on requirements management, schedule management, how to be a great executive sponsor. And right now my office is offering those sessions free. It was interesting because last week we always have a series of 2. We had 111 people on a Friday morning attend that. The day before we had 75. So there's a ton of interest, and again, we usually use the state workforce to teach the up-and-comers.
Well, Christie, thank you so much for joining us again and sharing your expertise.
Sure.
And thank you to our audience for once again joining us in a conversation about government, politics, and technology.